Hi guys, my name is Sophia, and today I'm going to be giving you a rapid overview of ClickUp. So while we have tons of other videos and docs that will delve into individual features in more depth, this video is all about helping you find important features fast and should be a great resource for those of you who are just getting started with the platform. So I wanted to start out in our task view because this is going to be where you're spending the majority of your time in ClickUp. Just a couple of cool features that you should be aware of right off the bat. A unique feature to ClickUp is the assigned comment. So on your right side of your task is where you're going to have your comment thread and you can chat with your teammates. You can even @mention a teammate to trigger a notification that lets them know that they need to take a look at the task. But an assigned comment is for when you want to actually delegate a mini action item in a comment that is not going to slip through the cracks. So let's say I want my colleague Tom to take a look at this task and send me some more information. I can actually click on this button here to assign that comment to Tom. And now when I've submitted the comment, it's always going to appear as an action item on the left side of the task. So he's also going to see this appear when he's looking at his overall list of personal tasks, and it's not going to actually disappear until the comment is physically resolved. So it's a great way to make sure that nothing is going to slip through the cracks. On the left side of the task, you're also going to have your subtasks and your checklists. And it's important to draw a couple of distinctions between subtasks and checklists. So let's actually open up a subtask here to take a look. As you can see, subtasks pretty much have the same body as the parent task. So these are really to convey more detailed action items to your teammates. You can add a totally different description for your subtask. You can have a different status for the subtask, different assignees. You can have a different comment thread, and you can even add checklists to your subtask. So subtasks are really about action items that are going to take more detail and maybe more time to complete. If we go back to the parent task, we can now take a look at our checklists. So checklists are about simple action items that can be considered either done or not done. There's no statuses involved with these. Everything is very simple. And they're really for just things that you can tick off as you go through your task. So as you can see, you can actually nest individual checklist items within your list. You can assign each line item to a different person on your team. Or you can assign the whole checklist to one specific person. Keep in mind, you can even save your checklist as a template. So clicking on that ellipses next to the title of the checklist, you can save that as a template to reuse it anytime. And that's one really cool thing about ClickUp is you can pretty much create templates from anything that you want. You can create a template from your task just by clicking on this ellipses. And you'll find that ellipses in the same place when you open up your subtask if you want to save that as a template as well. Another cool feature at the task level is the ability to add time estimates. So up here on the upper right side of the task, you can indicate to your teammates how long you expect this task is going to take to complete. So I can add my natural language processing option here. And right next to that, I can actually click on this little timer icon if I want to log time in my task to indicate how long I've actually been working in the task. So again, I can add manual time just with our natural language processing. I can also use our Chrome extension if I want to take advantage of that really cool timer that you saw. So with this, I can actually choose the task that I want to start tracking time in. And now I can actually start my timer for the task. In addition to the Chrome extension, we have integrations with other platforms like Harvest, Toggle, and EverHour that you can explore. Of course, you have the option to add start and due dates for your task right up here. You can even set up a recurring task. So if you want to make this a repeat task, rather than, if this is a task that you're going to need to do over and over again, rather than manually recreating that task every time, you can actually trigger an automated repeat schedule. So let's say I need this client task to reopen every single week on Mondays and Tuesdays at 9 a.m. I can actually set up that recurring schedule. And then I have a couple of options for how I want this task to repeat. I can make it so with the change due date option, this same task window is going to reopen every single time the task recurs. Or the recurrence can trigger an entirely new task to be created each and every time. So I'll have a fresh task window for each recurrence. You can also check out the repeat trigger option if you want to trigger a recurrence based on a status change. So that means whenever I change the status of my task here, I can trigger that recurrence. Another cool thing to mention is our watchers feature up here. So watchers are people that need to receive updates about things that occur in the task. So for example, when a comment is added, when a status is changed. So this is where you're going to be able to opt in for notifications for your task. But being a watcher doesn't necessarily mean you are responsible for completing the task like your assignees are over on the left-hand side. So keep in mind that you can be a watcher on a task without necessarily being the assignee. Another cool thing to check out is the fact that there is real-time collaboration at the task level. So for example, if one of my colleagues was actually editing this description or adding a comment while I was in this task, I would actually see that. So I have active real-time collaboration with my teammates at the task level. If I'm ever in the middle of a task here and for some reason I want to step away from it, come back to it later, I can actually minimize this task and drop it into my task tray. So if I click this button in the upper right corner of my screen, you can see that the task is actually dropped into my tray down here. So whenever I'm ready, I can click that task from the tray and I can continue right where I left off. So it's a really cool way to make sure you don't lose any progress and you don't let any tasks kind of disappear into the wilderness of ClickUp. We also have a really cool notepad feature in the lower right corner of your screen. You can enable this notepad just to keep track of any random personal notes that you might have. So there's lots of rich editing options you can add. You can keep track of meeting notes, grocery lists, and the cool thing is you can do things like rename it, archive your notes, or even convert them to tasks. So it's a great way to jot things down on the go, and then you can convert it to a task later. We even have a Notepad Chrome extension, which you can use just to use your Notepad anytime you're browsing the internet, and not just within the ClickUp platform. So now we're in our list view, which is our most popular view in ClickUp. And it's a great time to just give you a brief overview of the ClickUp hierarchy. So ClickUp is based on a strict organizational hierarchy that is going to ensure that every single action item in your workflow has a proper place. So as you can see here at the top, I have my spaces level. So once you create your overall team, you can add your spaces to break down the different departments within that team organization. So for example, let's say I'm using a team to run my business. I can actually create different spaces here to break up my marketing department, human resources department, customer success department. And then underneath each space, I can add my projects. So projects are how you kind of create folders that are going to encompass all of your central focuses and action items within each space. So for example, I've created a customer relationship management project within my customer success space. And then within each project, you can add lists. And lists act as the tabs within those project folders that are going to delineate the different focuses of your individual projects. So you can see here I have my employee onboarding project, and then I've broken up my different departments of new employees that I'm going to be onboarding within the overall projects. And then finally, as we've touched on before, within each list, now you can see our different tasks. So your lists are the ultimate containers for your tasks. Another cool thing that I wanted to mention in our list view is the ability to sort and filter your tasks. So you're going to find your filtering options in the upper right corner here. And this is how you can really cut out the clutter and just view tasks that pertain to a specific set of criteria. So for example, I can filter my tasks by assignee. If I just want to see tasks that pertain to one specific person. And I can sort my tasks by clicking on these individual columns here. So be sure to check out this ellipses, which you'll see above your list of tasks here. And you can actually show or hide different sorting columns above your tasks. And I can actually click on these columns to sort by different criteria. Keep in mind if you, for some reason, want to save a sorted and filtered view and come back to it at a later time, you can actually do that with our favorites menu. So you'll see this little yellow star in the upper left corner of your screen, and if you click that, you'll be able to access the favorites menu. So I can actually save this sorted and filtered view as a favorite. And now I've saved my sorting and my filtering. So now, even if I leave this view, if I clear my filtering and my sorting, I can always come back to this little yellow star and click on my favorite to be instantly taken back to that sorted and filtered view, which is pretty awesome. Another cool thing about ClickUp is that you don't just have to stick in one particular view. You're not bound to list view. If you'd prefer to see your tasks from a different vantage point, you can definitely do that. So let's quickly clear our sorting and our filtering that we've applied. For example, you can jump over to our board view. So if you want to check out a more, if you're familiar maybe with a more agile workflow, or if you're coming from a platform like Trello, you're probably familiar with the board layout. So in ClickUp, we actually align all of your tasks vertically according to their status in board view. So, you can drag and drop tasks between different columns, and you can even pin images and GIFs to your individual cards to show up in board view. You'll also find your box view in the upper right corner of your screen. And the cool thing about box view is it's going to show you a different box for each member of your team. And then you'll also see the number of tasks that each person is working on according to status within each box. Lastly, be sure to check out our time view. So if you come over here to the middle of your screen, let's jump over to take a look at a different space as well. This is our calendar view. So this is where you're going to be able to visualize all of your start and due dates for your tasks. And you can even apply start and due dates for your lists and visualize them on the calendar. So your scheduled tasks are automatically going to show up here. You can drag and drop them around to change the start and due dates if you want. And then you'll find your unscheduled tasks in the right column here. So I can actually drag and drop those as well to schedule my tasks if I want to. And you'll see here there are actually a couple of different ways you can color your tasks in time view. So if you come up to this little paintbrush icon, right now I'm coloring my tasks according to the colors of their parent lists. So as you can see here in my left sidebar where our lists are, I've added little colors to each of my lists here. And my tasks are actually going to reflect that on the calendar. I can also color them by status. So now each task is going to show the color of its status so I can see exactly where it exists in my workflow. Check out this little bell icon in the upper right corner to get all of your in-app notifications. So if I'm a watcher on a task, this is where I'm going to be notified of any updates to those tasks. So I can clear notification by clicking on this little bell icon. I can even drop a task into my tray from the notifications section, or I can open up the task entirely just by clicking on the notification. So if you ever accidentally clear a notification or just want to check up on notifications that have been recently cleared, just come over to the Cleared tab here and you'll be able to see those. However, we also have tons of other notification options available to you. So if you click on your profile avatar in the upper right corner, you can navigate to your notifications page. And this is where you'll be able to choose if you want to get granular notifications via email, mobile, or even browser. So there's tons of different options for you to explore, but keep in mind that these are set up at the user level. So each user on your team is going to need to set these up. We recently added some really cool features like goals. So you'll be able to find your goals menu right under this little trophy icon. And this is where you can actually set high-level objectives. So you can define, those larger objectives, and you can actually break them down into targets or key results in order to determine how you're going to satisfy that overall goal. So if you're coming from an agile team, or if you want to set up a sprint, definitely check out the goals feature to accomplish that. You'll be able to access our portfolio view as well right next to goals. So portfolios are really awesome. These will actually allow you to link different lists from across your entire team into one cohesive portfolio. And you can do really cool things like assign a list at the portfolio level, and even set colors and statuses for your lists. We also have a Gantt chart available right here. So Gantt charts are an excellent way to view the overall progress for your projects, lists, and tasks in ClickUp. So by default, you're going to see all of your different spaces in your left sidebar here. But you can click a space to expand the project underneath it. And as you can see now, I can actually even visualize my progress percentage for my content project. I can now view my lists underneath a project. And now I can even view all of my scheduled tasks within that list. So you can do cool things like even dragging and dropping lists in bulk to reschedule your tasks as well. You can also check out our reporting feature in the upper right corner here next to Gantt charts. So this is a great way to view your task progress from a variety of different vantage points within a specified period of time. So you can view reporting for all spaces, or you can just select a specific project or list that you want to see. And there's all sorts of different reports you can explore. You can check out worked on to see the tasks that have been worked on by your teammates. We're looking at a year-long period, so it does take a second to load. But there's lots of cool things to explore at the reporting level. And honestly, it synthesizes a lot of information that previously you might have been using multiple different tools to handle. So you can view that all with our reporting feature here. So that's a brief overview of just basically how you can start jumping around the ClickUp platform and finding those key areas to explore. But again, we have an expansive collection of docs and videos to give you more information on the features I've covered. And of course, you can always reach out to our support team at help@clickup.com.